Two facts. Over the past 30 years, the U.S. economy has been growing, but those at the top are getting more and more of the money. The top 20% have 14 times the wealth of the rest, the 80%, the largest inequality on record. And for the first time in half a century, the majority of the young people in the middle class are not earning as much as their parents did.
How much money do you get? What I'm going to bring home is going to be $470 about. What? What? But listen to this. Our house costs $800 a month, so I've got to work 2 weeks at least just to pay off the mortgage. Gas and electric's another $200 a month, so that's another half a week. I have to pay for a car, that's $200. So now I have to buy food, soap, shampoo, soda, toothpaste. So we're left with maybe $50 extra.
Though they say a generation ago, a firefighting income could support your family. But firefighter Chris Smith simply will not give up on that dream for his children. Chris Smith has 3 jobs. He works on rotation. His schedule's a Rubik's Cube.
3 nights in February, I'll get to sleep in my own bed. Every other night, I'm working somewhere overnight.
We're there as he gets ready to go to work at his first job, firefighter on the night shift.
I have to be clean shaven for the fire department, so our mask will form a good seal on our face. Spare uniforms for every job that I'm going to over the next 2 days.
Job number 1, at the firehouse, 15 straight hours. Chris makes us a video diary as 7 emergency calls come into the firehouse, one after the other.
We are heading out on a call, possible structure fire, reported smoke. County, any?
Job number 2 is as a trained paramedic. Some days, Chris goes directly there to work 8 hours. Job number 3, 5 hours as a paramedic in a different town. He races off to help a truck worker who was unloading gravel.
Vehicle rollover with injury.
I know you're a tough guy, but tell me if something was hurting, right? I will. Thank you. Not a problem, buddy.
End of each month, how much do you have left?
Really nothing.
He's such a good guy, and he works so hard, and the job that he does do is so incredibly hard and so incredibly scary.
Chris looks longingly at the lives of the 20% of Americans who take up so much more of America's wealth.
I want more time with my children, with my family. You're never going to get that back.
The people who can afford vacations and savings accounts, security for the future.
They spend more in one day than we probably spend in a month. Their bonuses are more than we make in years.
And so many of you wrote us that it doesn't seem most Americans know about the reality of a middle-class life. We went out on the street to ask some random questions. What percentage of Americans today are in the middle class?
75%.
The truth, just 50%. And what is the income for a family of 5 just making it through the middle class door?
This is my answer.
That income actually starts at $54,000.
The way Glenn Miller played
songs that made the hit parade.
Return with us to the sights and sounds of Archie Bunker's neighborhood. 30 years ago, the television symbol of living in the American working class.
Call Rudy in California.
On the phone?
No, we just open up the window and holler.
Here's Archie's house today, the blue one on the right. We took a walk there with Ralph McLaughlin, chief economist for Trulia, a real estate website.
Those homes were built for middle-class Americans. They were built for teachers. They were built for firefighters. They were built for nurses. And those types of people can't afford those homes anymore. I see a middle-class neighborhood that is no longer affordable to the middle class.
Kathy Massey moved into Archie's neighborhood 40 years ago. Her husband was a truck driver. She showed us who's buying these houses now.
He's a banker. He's a CEO.
She says in 1978, her house cost almost $60,000. Today, it's valued at $800,000. And these soaring house prices aren't just in New York. It's happening in job markets across the country.
Homeownership in America is at a 50-year low. Think about that, Diane. How many things can you think of today are at 50-year lows?
So Americans are right that something profound has changed. In the 1970s, a father on one salary could afford the average new home being built then. We drop in for tea with neighbors.
Teachers can't afford to live here.
blue-collar workers, the people that work in this town that we depend on, they have to leave.
I've worked in biotech for 20 years.
And so you have
I make 6 figures, and I can't give my kids what I grew up with.
With 2 incomes, you know, it's difficult. We can live here, but, you know, can we thrive here?
So you have to live in a place you can't afford to live to keep the job that you want to keep too. I mean, it's a trap.
Right.
It says a lot that almost everyone at this table with me a year and a half ago is gone. They had to leave their home.
Once upon a time, the gap between the rich and the poor was not a large one, and everybody on one side of it had hopes of getting to the other. 2 things have happened. 1, that gap has become extraordinarily large, and 2, the ability to cross it has become extraordinarily rare. You know, it's a game of chutes and ladders that has become all chutes and very few ladders.
As for the cost of housing, the experts say it's a lot about political leadership, like changes in the zoning laws.
People who are privileged, people who are entrenched interests have made it impossible to build low-income housing, any housing.
The solutions are within our reach. The question is, do we have the will to implement?